Hello everyone, I'm Sisanda and welcome to On the Couch. So today I'll be chatting to Mixo Ngoveni, who is the founder of Geekulcha, which is a geek movement for ICT students and tech enthusiasts, where they share knowledge and collaborate on projects and network with industry leaders. Misha, how are you doing today?
I'm all good, hey? A bit chilly, but all good nonetheless. And you?
I'm okay. Is it nippy in Joburg today?
Yeah, it's a bit, the weather is actually quite messed up. I'm actually chilling outside, so it's sunny, it's cold, it's a mixture. It's a nice chocolate.
I'm excited when you guys get the Cape Town weather. It's nice and sunny here in Cape Town, just by the way.
Yeah, and I don't want that weather this side.
Dude, so I've kind of followed your journey for a bit from Geekulcha, and but I'm not sure if everybody kind of knows what Geekulcha is or who you are, even though you've kind of been all over within the tech space. So can you just kind of give us a brief background on your journey within tech?
All right. My journey with tech, I guess, started a bit in high school, not that much. In high school, it's just more the love of technology in general, not necessarily doing anything with technology. Then I went to university. I studied engineering. So I did engineering for a year. And then I dropped out of engineering after a year because it was not happening for me. So I studied electronic engineering. The reason for that is just to merge the electronics part, because I love electronics, or at least I love gadgets. Let me just say gadgets. And business side, I was hoping there'd be a lot of business as well. But when I started seeing a lot of the engineers, I was like, nah, this probably won't be happening the way I wanted it. So I dropped out and I went to study business informatics. Still the same institution, TUT. Business informatics afforded me both the tech world and the business side of things. But even with that much, I was not really fully in the technical side of things. I still had that business interest as well. And I found that, school for me at that time, I hope things have changed, not that much, was not giving me enough in terms of what the industry is doing. So I started attending a lot of tech events while I was still in tertiary, and that allowed me to just get exposure to what's happening in the tech world. So what I'd read in a textbook, I would hear from different events that I attend, but I could hear that it's more practical and it's much more advanced. So it just made my journey a little bit different. I almost stopped again, dropped out again, because I just felt it was like pointless studying. But I managed to continue because my parents would not be happy with that. So I managed to continue and finish my business informatics. Through that journey, I got an opportunity from Microsoft to be what they call Microsoft Student Partner, selected as one of the 6 students across the country. That was in 2011. And before that, I had gone to something they call Microsoft Emerging Cup, where a bunch of students come from different institutions and they demonstrate their projects and showcase what they're capable of doing. So our project was a bus system project. It was a bit challenging. It was nice, but compared to the other students, we're like way below par. We actually didn't make it through the first round. That's when I just said to Microsoft, like, we need this kind of stuff and exposure at our school, at our institution. So that's why the 2011, they selected me as a Microsoft Student Partner. And from there, the journey started. Created a Facebook group called Innovators.it, which was meant to be an opportunity for IT students at TUT to connect and learn about Microsoft tech. But then it started expanding to other students. And then in 2013, created Geekulcha. They didn't really know what it was, what it was meant to really be. But all I knew is that we wanted to create something that bridges the gap between the industry, the tech industry, and the university space. Through that journey, I met some really interesting young students from TUT, that became part of Geekulcha as the Geekulcha team. And one of them is now my partner, Tiani. He's a very amazing, awesome guy. So yeah, that's the journey about Geekulcha. There's a lot that we've done over the years. Yeah, to just touch base on that.
Yeah, so like, how did you even know about tech? Because when I'm thinking about high school, I think we're probably in high school around the same time, if I'm not mistaken. A lot of people were still very scared of like what technology was and kind of studying IT. It was kind of unheard of, and most parents were still on the whole, no, you need to go and get a job that people know about because we don't even know if this is going anywhere. So
Yeah.
where did your love start from? Like, how did you go from high school and say, Yazini, I'm going to go to varsity and this is what I'm going to study? How did you get in touch with tech, Nje?
I mean, for me, it was more the electronic side of tech. So I used to love sound engineer. So I'd learn a bit of the tech parts of sound engineering, and being the person I thought I'd create my own thing and then sell it. And to create, that's why I had to learn a little bit about technology. But the idea was really not to be the world's best creator, but I just wanted to sell and make money out of whatever I'd create. So that's where the interest came in, learned a bit of things from popular mechanics. So I'd get a lot of tech related books and just read and, fancy this world of tech. Follow Bill Gates, always been my favorite. So I just constantly just read about all these things. I wouldn't say I was the smartest person in the tech world, but I just kept on learning as much as possible, reading as much as possible. I mean, I went to a point that in tertiary I got myself a BlackBerry, and the reason for behind the BlackBerry was obviously the free everything,
Yay.
but but I saw there's an opportunity to use it to read more about the tech world. So for me, getting a BlackBerry was more about now I can say I have internet at home on my palm, and I'm able to just research and I started just making lists of companies that I'm interested in, made my top 100 company list, and then just started following them. That's basically how I got a lot of the exposure. Following them before I met them. Interesting enough, some of them I'd read about them on um, magazines, and now I interact with some of them, so that's pretty awesome.
That's pretty incredible. Like, just hearing you talk about how you followed people before you met them, it makes me think of how people kind of think of LinkedIn and how they don't understand the power behind that tool in itself. But before we talk about the different tools that people should be interacting with, especially now during lockdown, I want to know from you. Like, you say that you started. So Geekulcha kind of started off as like a movement on Facebook, but why was it important for you to kind of create a space for university students? Why was it important for you to start this kind of movement? Why did you think it was important to have something for tech students out there?
So for me, it was really because of the exposure that I got from Microsoft. So I got a lot of exposure in terms of they'll take me to the events, the activities around there, showing me lots of stuff around the tech world, and some of the stuff you find that I actually didn't quite need. So you find that I get exposure to a lot of things that don't benefit me or are not important for me, but would benefit other students. So that's where the need came in to like, look, I am getting exposed to these things, but there are people that will actually need these things, that will need this exposure. So that's where it came. It became a matter of transferring the information, transferring the knowledge to everybody around.
So you've kind of always been this person of wanting to share knowledge, and like I can see that entrepreneurship was also something that's always been in your blood, because you're saying you got into the space wanting to sell things. You were in engineering because you wanted to make things and sell them. So entrepreneurship was something that was always within for Rowena.
Yeah, it's. I guess it was that without even thinking about it. I mean, high school, primary was just trading things like Pokemon and marbles.
You were that
Uh,
guy.
I was just trading, so I'd collect and just trade. Come to tertiary, it was a matter of selling airtime, so I'd sell airtime, CD covers, a whole bunch of stuff. So my cousin introduced me to a lot of the business side of things. So I just love the trading. Phone covers as well, the Nokia 3310. So that whole selling and trading thing was there, but just never really understood that it could convert it to something.
That's incredible, dude. You were that, like, I can even picture you. You were that guy who was selling Pokemons at school. I remember those dudes, and most of them are entrepreneurs now, weirdly enough. So, like, everybody now is kind of only getting into the online space because of the pandemic, right? Because
Yeah.
I think it's always just been a very scary space, especially for corporates. Corporates have always just, it's been this fight for the past, 5 years. We need to digitize,
Yeah.
but everybody's kind of been really nervous. And COVID happened, and
Exactly.
now everybody's in the space. Now everybody's here. Everybody's trying to figure it out. What would you say to somebody who is running a business right now, who is nervous, who is still very scared of, like, exploring and trying to figure out what online is about? What advice would you give, SMMEs out there who are not privy to the online space?
Look, we've been trying to say for some time that you can't run away from tech. So that's one of the things that we've been constantly saying online, everywhere we go, that you can't run away from tech. You need to befriend technology, because it's with us, and I mean it's around us. We're saying it will take over. We're saying it'll come a time where we're highly dependent on it. Boom, there we are. So to all the different small startups, businesses, and general people out there, I think one of the things we need to do is just go to the basics, and part of the basics is, before we jump into the whole 4IR and coding and whatnot, the basic of digital skills. What can we do with the devices that we have? What can we do with internet? When internet is not there, what are the possibilities? What else can you do? What can you do with the phones that we carry? A lot of us are carrying phones, even simple phones like a feature phone is capable of just connecting you to the internet. There's a lot of stuff that you can actually do with that. You can scan documents, you can sign documents. So there's a lot of things that small businesses can do without having to jump into the whole complicated CRM and what.
Yay.
Exactly. And we can take advantage of simple things like WhatsApp. Everybody is on WhatsApp. You can run a good business and on WhatsApp. There's a lot of stuff that you can do. So it's just a matter of, we have to obviously quickly adjust. I mean, we've been 3-4 months into this, so we have to quickly adjust and understand that this is the way things will be. It's just time to just embracing it.
Yeah, I hear you mentioning WhatsApp as one of the platforms that people should kind of be looking into with regards to business, because I think a lot of people don't necessarily know that, WhatsApp can be used as a business tool. What other online spaces, could be making this time easier for small businesses specifically, and like could help strengthen their businesses and not necessarily, keep them away from the market? What other spaces should small businesses be looking into besides WhatsApp? What are the under resourced spaces that you think entrepreneurs should be playing in?
I'm finding I had almost stopped using Facebook, but I'm finding it quite interesting now. There's a lot you can actually do with Facebook, from running your business to marketing your business, branding your business. So we always push for the website being the main thing, but now you can even take a back seat and almost run your business through social media. So I'm a big fan of social media, and I believe entrepreneurs should embrace social media, not just like Twitter and bashing each other and trying to make someone fall, but promoting your business, talking about your business. There's things like Google My Business, right? It's ways that you can actually plug your business online, and people can find out about your business. They can rate your business. You can even interact with your different clients on such platforms. So once again, for me, the phone is a very powerful tool that we have. There's a lot of simple apps that one can download to take advantage of that. As I mentioned earlier, to scan your documents, to even sign your documents. So there's a process that you can do all these things without even leaving your home. just in the comfort of your home space.
You
So
make
yeah,
it
we
sound,
just need to start.
yeah,
Yeah.
you make it sound so easy. You make it sound like, no, guys, like, just, don't be scared. Just go ahead. You can download these apps and you can, just continue enjoying your life. Like, it can be scary. I won't
Yeah.
lie.
So we've actually discovered that there is a massive fear of technology. There's also trust issues. So if I am connecting my devices on this internet thing, and I look at my phone and I buy stuff online and my money is gone,
Yeah.
what really is happening to my money? Who can I call to confirm that they've received the money? So there is that fear, and that's why we're pushing a lot of people understanding basic digital skills. Once we can embrace that, once we can start using those skills, it makes it a lot easier, and it breaks away the fear. And we can even start educating people about things like security, cyber security element, make people comfortable around that space and make them aware of what they should be aware of and what they shouldn't be playing around with.
Yeah, speaking of fear, right? Um,
Yeah.
when you started out with geek culture, when you realized that this is kind of like a business now, what were some of the things that what were some of the challenges that you faced when you started out, and what were some of your fears when this whole thing kind of started?
Um, I guess one of the fears, a huge part of it, one just jumped into it. There was no, this is a business type of thing. It was like, okay, cool. This is cool and fun. Let's just share, and then boom, then there's a community. And
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, cool. There's a community. Let's just once again take care of the community, share the information, build and strengthen the community, and then it started happening, right? And then the networking part started happening. I guess the biggest fear started happening when you realize actually we need to run a business. We're not just trying to build a community, but we're more running a business. So the learning part of it, the not being so sure about a lot of things. I mean, it was easy selling airtime, selling phone covers. That was a matter of you get something, you find people, and then you sell. Where else now? It's a whole different world. You have to take care of SARS, you have to do invoices, and all those things. They ask you a whole bunch of stuff that you didn't know. So the learning part was a bit of a challenge. But I wouldn't say there's been much of a fear besides that. It's just been learning as we go and seeing how things are.
I think that's because you're just a tech person. I think tech people are just easy. I think innovation and change comes easily for people in tech. It's just this is the next step and this is the next thing that needs to happen. When I was looking at the Geek Culture site, something that was really heartwarming was just seeing a page where you kind of acknowledge all of the people that have helped you on your journey, with different
Yeah.
parts and different things that you've done on the journey. What has been the importance of your peers in the growth of your business and the people that you've met along the way who have helped you grow?
For me personally, and one thing we also believe in Geek Culture is the community. So in Geek Culture, we believe a lot in the community. Take care of the community because they are the ones that represent you when you are at home, when you're offline, when you wherever you are. So if you can take good care of them, they actually look after you, and they speak and open those doors on your behalf. And when it comes to your network, I'm a big believer in build a network. Build a network. Try not to burn bridges. Sometimes give without expecting anything. So the more you build networks, the more you help others. Someday in the long run, people will just come and help you. And you'll be surprised you're just sitting there, and then you get a call which you didn't even plan for, and someone will just come and support you and help you out. So big believer in building strong networks and taking care of the networks, and also believer in building a really good, fruitful community. So that's what we also believe in Geek Culture, to really strengthen our community, empower them, share as much as possible with them, because at the end they become a reflection of who we are as an organization.
That's pretty awesome. I think I saw a tweet from your partner a couple of days ago, and he was just really excited about a group of people that had come to one of the hackathons, and it's now kind of turned into this business. And he was really, really excited about this. What would you say have been some of the lessons that you've learned from the people that have come through Geekulcha? What have been the lessons that you've been like, yes, I never saw that, but like this is what it's made me realize as well? Just the people that have come in through the network.
I mean, sometimes we take the things we do for granted. And it's just like, okay. And the other thing that we usually encounter as Geekulcha is you find that today we're doing something. We don't really have a time to relax and embrace the next thing, or to take it in, to soak it in, you know. You jump onto the next one, then the next one. But then when you hear such encouraging words, it's just quite amazing. So it's always great to hear someone who says, look, you know, what you guys did helped me, or it groomed me. You opened doors for us, you know. And sometimes we're like, oh, okay, we didn't realize we're actually doing that. And it's actually quite impactful, you know. And then when you hear someone who you probably in a crowd was there, but you actually didn't know that they were there, and they actually share good stories and good feedback, and that really is really what encourages us quite a lot. So yeah, there's actually a lot that the community has done that we've also learned from the community, but it also boils down to, you know, if you can take care of, I think the biggest lesson is if you can take care of the community, if you can take care of your following or your members, you know, they will in return take good care of the organization and put in a good way. To a point that people call Geekulcha, it's not a company. They don't see it as a company. They call it a movement, something that they are part of.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that we're learning.
Yeah, I think that's what I've noticed as well. That's like the thread that I've seen with the people that kind of communicate with you guys. It's like one big family of people that kind of meet every so often. And so, you know, you talk a lot about community and network. I think what lockdown has kind of shown a lot of us is the power in collaboration and working with other people, right? And I think that you, as Geekulcha, you have collaborated with a lot of different companies and a lot of different stakeholders. What have been some of your most memorable collaborations to date, and why are they so memorable? Why would you, you know, when you think about that collaboration, you're like, as in, this worked because of A, B, and C?
Sure. Jeez. Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yes, for was. You want to know because, like, I think it's because a lot of people, there are still some people who shy away from collaboration, you know, and I think it's important to make people understand that, you know, just because you're partnering up with somebody, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're giving up a part of you or your business or your value system. So I guess what I want to know is, you know, if I think what's come out of the collaborations that have worked, it's always like people that say it's because our values were aligned. So I want to know from you, Guti, you know, there must have been that one company or organization, hello cutie pie, one organization or company that, you know, when you kind of got together, what you made was something that was so impactful that it's hard to forget.
There's DDET in Northern Cape. I think they've been quite amazing in supporting our work within Northern Cape. Our initiatives always there to jump in, always there to help out. The CPSI, they always find ways of helping us out when we put up our hands. There's Here Maps, there's Open Data SA. The list is
Do you see what I mean? Like, you're like the collaboration king. You've worked with everyone in tech.
Yeah.
So I think what Geekulcha does is it makes tech accessible to people that would have never thought that it's something that they can get into, right? So what has that done for you? Like, ensuring that, you know, you create this accessibility for people who might have not been within the tech space.
So it has allowed us to move away from not just get lost in the hype. So I mean, it's very easy to get lost in the hype, the events, and all those things at the top, and the tick boxing, like we've got X amount of people and all those things. And then when you leave, you realize actually no one has grown from that. So what it has allowed us to do is like actually, touch base and go back to the ground and say, cool, what do we want to leave behind? How do we want to make the organization different from other organizations instead of just doing it as a hyped up thing? How do we make sure we leave proper impact so that when we leave, because we're definitely going to leave, we have to go back home, right? So when we leave, we know that we've actually left someone with a foundation. And part of what we're doing now is we don't just leave, we identify people within the particular areas that we go to that could potentially then take over. So we believe a lot in peer-to-peer learning and train the trainer. So Geekulcha is there, but we're going to go back home, but we need some bit of presence within the particular area. So we find people that we can transfer the knowledge to, at the same time give access to the network, and it allows us to then go back to wherever we will be coming from, and things continue, and there's growth. So that's what we're doing. And parts of that is creating chapters within universities. So as much as we do activities in different areas, we do things within universities. So there is that element of presence and continuity.
That's pretty awesome. Like, I think most people, because I think you were like one of the first to do what you're doing. And I think what happens with people who kind of start movements, usually when other people kind of start joining that market and start doing that, it's like, there's like a panic and you get kind of frantic in trying to make sure that you're still number one and you're still the best. But I think what you've done as you have grown is kind of pull up other people and get them into this movement, right?
Yeah.
But what have you done? Because I think I've seen Geekulcha, it's just grown. It's just become this thing on its own. What techniques, I think I'm going to call them techniques, do you think you guys have used to stay in the game and to just stay on top of it and to just constantly keep growing while you're helping other people also grow?
I think it boils down to it's something we drive a lot. It's taking care of the people, making sure that it's really for the people. It's not just oh yeah, we just did that, we move on. Taking care of the people, but also being almost personal with the people in a way, because obviously you can't be personal with everyone, but it's a matter of I'm not just here because I was brought here, but I'm here to make sure that what I'm here to deliver empowers you. So we believe a lot in that proper empowering people, proper upskilling people. There's something that Danny says that we don't just want to train people for the sake of training. It's more development than training, because training is just, well, I've trained you and then you'll go figure out. But development, it's a growth phase. There's things that you learn in a journey. So those are the things that we quite to use, and we believe a lot in doing just the unconventional stuff. So we believe a lot in just doing it. If people find us, they'll find us on the way. So we create our own rules, we create our own ways of doing things. We try not to conform too much. So I mean, even if we're sitting in a boardroom, we do share our voices, and it's not just, oh, okay, they said we must do this. We will be able to say, look, we are dealing with our community, and our community doesn't do this. Our community prefers things this way. So it also that whole go back and take care of the community, always look out for the community. That is probably the biggest thing that we do.
Where does that come from, Mishu? Because I feel like in this entire conversation, it's always just go back to the community and make sure that you're taking care of them. I think that's it's as much as that's what you stand for in the business, I think that's also like a personal thing. You're all about developing other people. Where does it come from?
So I think it's something that even Diani, it's something that Diani has. It's that whole, look, let's people first. And it's that whole, we want to see people succeed. It's that whole, we're not just doing Geekulcha as because there's a nice hype around coding, but we're thinking beyond the coding. How do we transfer the knowledge so that we can see more local guys building local content? So it's really all about that whole development and making sure that we see more of our people, more of South Africa growing as well. So it's really that whole, yeah, taking care of taking care of our people, because if they are empowered, yes, some will forget about us, but as long as we know that they're actually moving to the next stage, moving to the next level, and hopefully they'll come back and take care of the community. And that's what we've been seeing actually quite a lot, is people that have gone through geek culture somewhere somehow come back and say, look, here's my hand, what can I do? So we have a lot of people outside. So we always say our team is our direct team is very small, but then we've got a massive community that's constantly raising their hand and say, look, what do you want me to do? And it's actually quite amazing.
That's pretty awesome. It makes me feel all fuzzy and warm inside. Like, so with lockdown, right? Like, some of the businesses, everybody's been struggling. Like, people have been struggling. And for me, it's like, I want to know, is it the same for tech companies? Because a lot of people also think, if your business has always been a business that is focused online, this time must have been a breeze for you. What has been your experience with the business during lockdown?
It's been challenging. It's been quite challenging. We've had our phases, but I think things are picking up. But it's sometimes not much us, but more the environment around us. So our typical environment, they're used to doing stuff on the physical sphere, stuff on the ground, and we move a lot faster. We do a lot of crazy stuff that way. But when everybody is like locked down, no one can really do anything. They don't even know how to go about doing it. As much as we probably are sitting in bed and ready to move, they don't know how it's going to look like. They don't know the how it might turn out. So that has been one of the biggest setbacks. But it's good to see that people are starting to embrace this virtual thing, this virtual space. I see us carrying on. It probably will carry on. An element of it will carry on going forward. So I see that happening, which is good. It's just a matter of, as long as we don't leave anyone behind, we should be good.
What elements of the business do you think have changed? And you're saying that, this is what we're going to take forward with us because it's worked better than what we were doing before lockdown. What are some of the things that you can pinpoint and say, as in actually going to the office maybe five days a week is not as conducive as us being in our separate spaces has been during lockdown? What are some of the things that you will take away from this time and continue doing after?
I mean, I guess that the biggest thing is you cut down on travel. So there is no 4 hours on the road, right? You get to actually sit and do stuff. The disadvantage is you find that you're no longer you work almost throughout the day. So the other thing that I find quite interesting or nice is that I don't have to leave. I just come find a corner like this and I take a call. And I like how the calls now are shorter, or the meetings are shorter. People are straight to the point. So that's a definite great takeaway. So there's no need to worry about, you're going to have coffee and then it's like straight to the point. And then it's done. So as much as a person sets out an hour, you find 20 minutes you're done, 30 minutes you're done, and we're good. And I get to eat the food that I want at home. I make my own food. So that's another good thing about it. But yeah, there's been positives in it because you get to be slightly more focused, but at the same time, you get to think about and focus a bit on your own personal life. I think from a geek culture point of view, we spend so much time on the road, and you don't really think about, you're just always moving, you don't really always see things in a different way. So this allows you to just sit back a bit and just like, oh, okay, maybe that we need to panel bit it a little bit. Maybe we need to get rid of that. That is useless, or we think about other things. We're starting to see other things as well, also opportunities. You're starting to see opportunities much easier because you're not always on the move, you're observing. And from my side, I've been observing quite a lot, and it's like, whoa, didn't realize there's so many opportunities. And it's just a matter of how do you strategically plan to tackle them.
That's awesome. And what would you say is the one thing that you've learned about yourself during lockdown, like as Mishu, that you didn't know before? Like for me, I didn't realize I was patient and I could actually teach.
For me, the biggest thing that I probably learned is what did I learn? I think it's more on not learning, but more on applying. So it's more on applying a lot of the things. So having more time to read different things. So now I'm even taking courses online. So it's things that I've always wanted to do, but because of time, didn't allow that. So it's not too much haven't learned much per se, simply because even before the lockdown, for a good year or two, I would always dedicate at least a day or two in the week to work strictly from home. So it's just been a matter of, okay, things are just now, instead of 2 days, it's literally 24/7. So it's that. But I think the biggest takeaway is I probably have learned to manage time slightly much better. I have a colorful calendar now that I can at least know that if they say 3 o'clock, at least now I'm no longer there 10 past 3, I'm maybe 2 minutes past 3. So learning that as well. So it's good learnings.
I can't believe you're not a time management person. I thought like you're really on point with time management. Like this is news to me.
No, I try.
Well, that's pretty awesome. Like, what's before I let you go, like one last thing. What's the one thing that you can't? You're really excited for that you'll get to do. Like once we're on level 1, what's that one thing that you're like, yo, I can't wait. Yes, I can't wait until we get to level 1 so that I can do this.
I can't wait to travel. And travel and see different places. So that clears my mind and it allows me to. I think different. So when I say different things, different places, mountainous areas, the sea, the sand, the lights at night. I take a lot of photos. So it just allows that shut down from the madness of the world and just focus on the beauty of what's around and just capture it. The way I see it. So for me, that's the biggest thing I'm actually definitely looking forward to. And yeah, obviously being on the ground with the geeks, I do miss their noise and their craziness. So it's definitely looking forward to that part.
I'm looking forward to what you guys are going to be doing next. Like there's always like some hackathon, you're always busy. So I can't wait to see like what's the next the next thing that Geekulcha has to offer. Because as you said, you're fast moving, and if you've had all this time to now strategize and say, okay, there are all these opportunities, this is what we can do. I can't wait until level 1 to see what do the geeks have to offer.
No, definitely excited about what's coming. There's a lot of cool stuff that's in the pipeline, and we're just always ready to just cause havoc and disruption.
I love that. Havoc and disruption. Yes. Thank you, man, for taking the time to chat and to just share, what it's been like under lockdown and some of the learnings that you've had from your business. I truly appreciate it. I appreciate your time because Nyaz, your little man there, he demands your time. I see. He's boss. He's the boss of that house.
Yeah, exactly. He must finish now.
I know. So thank you, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate your work. And keep pushing.
No, thanks for that. Thanks for the opportunity and the chat. I actually enjoyed it. So yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing you on the ground as well. And definitely interacting with you and fellow other geeks as well.
Thank you so much, Mishu. Have an awesome day.
Awesome. All right, you too. Keep well.